What do you know? St. John's is adding someone else in the portal. Former Tennessee center, former Weber State center, former Milligan center. Shout out to Milligan, NAIA dogs. Uh, Handje Tamba has transferred to St. John's, is committed to St. John's. Like I said, he played last season at the NAIA level at Milligan, averaged 10 points, 9 rebounds, shot 50% from the field. Um, did not play much at Weber State before that. Only played 10 minutes a game, averaged 1 and 1. He transferred to Weber State from Tennessee, where he didn't see any action. He's a class of 2021 recruit, where he was an unranked prospect. Came over to the United States in 2017, so kind of fairly new to the basketball scene. But an interesting ad for St. John's, I think. You look at what Tamba has done so far in his career. And at the Division 1 level, whether high or low major, it's kind of virtually nothing. And at the NAIA level, he was a solid player, averaging a double-double. Obviously, he has a 6'11 frame, 240 pounds, I believe. So he's a very strong, physically gifted kid. But, um, he was, for lack of a better term, he was a good NAIA player, right? Good NAIA player, unplayable Division 1 player at the high and low major level. Now finds himself at St. John's. Interesting ad for St. John's in this one. And Rick Pitino, what do you take from this one, Dion?
I mean, he has a similar mold to other St. John's ads, I would say. So St. John's there's no real middle ground with Pitino. You're either bringing in St. On, Ian Jackson, Bryce Hopkins, some of the best like dudes in the portal, or there's guys in this. I call him Big Tom now. So we got Big Tom at Illinois. Now we got Big Tom. It's a little different. But so then you got Big Tom, who's like he's 7 feet. So I think Rick Pitino, like he goes down the list, he's like, who's 7 feet, who's 7'1". And then I think he just texts anybody that's 7 feet tall, and figures he can work with them. So he's very limited offensively, clearly, respectfully to Big Tom, but he plays very hard. Extremely high motor, works really hard on the offensive glass, tries to block shots. That's all Patino's worried about. From his centers, if he can get that out of you, he feels like he can get the rest out of you. So I feel like he fits the Patino mold. I also don't think he's going to care if he plays. So he's on his fourth school in as many years. This is the type of guy who is just happy to be back at a high major level. I feel like he's going to work really hard in practice. And I think a lot of that is all Patino needs.
We interrupt this sleepers video to tell you about an offer from Underdog Fantasy. Cart, you love Underdog Fantasy, correct?
Of course I do. Can I have a moment real quick?
Please. Thank you for that. In fact, I'm going to cut you off because our listeners like when we keep these short and sweet. Underdog Fantasy. Sign up as a new user. Use promo code SLEEPERS. Get bonus funds up to $1,000, 50% of your deposit match. The NBA playoffs are rocking right now. I played Underdog last week with a Cade Cunningham line. I'm looking forward to doing it throughout the entire first round of the NBA playoffs, but there's more. You can place picks on golf. You can place picks on baseball. You can place picks on the NHL playoffs that are rocking right now. Join Underdog Fantasy, promo code SLEEPERS. Support this show so that we can keep bringing videos to you. Back to the video.
And I think he's going to get the most out of him if anybody were to. But this isn't a high major role like rotation piece in my opinion.
Yeah, it's first of all, credit to Tamba. What a come up to find himself back at St. John's at that level because you know, a player of his caliber, you expect him to be dominant at the NAIA level. And, for a guy with his height and his measurables and him being kind of a former Division 1 player, you know, averaging 10 while only shooting 50% too, by the way, a little bit underwhelming. Only blocked 2 shots a game. Oh, sorry, only blocked 1.7 shots a game at his size at that level. Just some things you want to see from a guy that you didn't necessarily see. Average almost 2 turnovers a game, less than 1 assist. Did rebound well. Obviously, did almost average a double double. Just you know, 50% from the field. If I feels hard, it feels bad harping on a guy for that, but like at that level, you expect him to be higher than that. Not a 3-point shooter. Does knock down his free throws at a really good clip at 77%. But this you shouldn't really look at this ad for more than it is. I think it's just to have a body. You have a body, and that body's 6'11".
At Weaver, he averaged 1.8 points a game on 55% shooting. I don't even know how that's possible. Like that's only one bucket. I don't know how you get to 55% from the field. Uh, you know, so limited offensively to say the least.
Yeah, might be just limited basketball-y. You ain't got to do offensive or D, just limited basketball wise. But a body for St. John's. If all in all you got a 6'11" guy that, if worst comes to worst, break glass in case of emergency, or just a practice body to be a 6'11" player. But yeah, interesting ad for St. John's. But they already did all the work they needed to do in the portal early, so they could add me at this point and it'd be just fine. So
I mean, hey, if they need an extra person, I still have 4 years of eligibility. And I can go, I'll take some classes on campus. Like I'll do like, I was gonna say theater arts, but I got a D in that in high school, so I don't want to run that back.
yeah, we'll figure out what your next major will be and your next stop. As your agent, we're not gonna go ahead and shake ass for schools. We're gonna wait to see who comes with us. But shout out to Tamba, shout out to Ricky P. Maybe finishing out his transfer portal class.